What's up, guys? This is the first episode, and the hottest topic right now is this George Floyd thing. And I want to talk about the truth about how all of this plays out. You got everybody that's talking about everybody saying the same thing that happens every time. The same thing that happens every time is that a black guy gets killed or a black guy gets put on trial for something big like OJ, and if they said OJ was guilty, they're going to riot in the streets. Everybody's going to riot in the streets. The threat is, you don't do what we want, we're going to riot in the streets. But what's so stupid is, and this is what everybody's saying the same shit. But they're saying, why are you burning your own stuff down? It's been said for years. But why does this cycle keep happening? Why is it that every time this happens, the same thing happens, that people get on? You got Sharpton, you got all the same people now. You got Trigger Mike, you got different people that get on there and they say calmly, "Listen, we need to have a serious conversation. We need to talk about this. We need to figure out what the problem is." Everybody's screaming racism. This is not racism. This has nothing to do with racism. All right? This has to do with a bad cop. And what's something? Before I say anything else, let me say this. What happened to this man should not happen to anybody. White, black, Chinese, anybody. What happened to him was murder. And everybody's pretty much unanimous about this. If you haven't seen that video and you're speaking to this, you don't know what you're talking about. All right? Because this guy was murdered. There's nothing in the handbook that says put your knee on the back of this person's neck to restrain him. You're supposed to put your knee across his shoulder blade into the middle of his back to handcuff him, but this guy was already handcuffed. It's not hard to keep a guy down with 3 people, and one guy keeping everybody back. It's not hard. What happened to him was murder. And yeah, I get it that they're saying that this has been happening for a long time. Black people say this has been happening for a long time, and we're just now catching it on camera. If that's been happening, that's murder. Okay? But we need to go from here. We can't keep looking back and saying, this is what used to happen. But here's the problem. Here's why we can't move forward, why we can't get anything done, is because if you're white, you need to shut up. You can't talk to this. You don't know how it feels. You don't know the experience. There's no way you can know how it feels to be black, so shut the fuck up. And that's what they say. That's what people say, right? Now you can take this video and tear it apart. He said they, he said this, he said that's the problem. All these little bullshit things is the problem. All these little, well, you don't understand this and you don't understand that. Okay, so then you got the white people. They can't say anything because there's white guilt, right? From slavery and all that stuff. So they just have to sit back and shut their mouth. Now, if you're black and you stand up and you say what the truth is, then you're going to be called an Uncle Tom, a house N-word, and then you're going to be labeled as you're not black. You're on the white side. You have to fit the premise. You have to fit the premise for it to work. So that's why nothing's being done. If you're listen, I'm half Puerto Rican, half white. I know I look white. I look white. I walk the streets. I look white. I have red tint in my beard. Okay, I'm considered. Hey, shut your mouth. You don't know about this topic. But I have the solution, okay? And the solution is, if we really can talk about this, if everybody that's saying, we need to sit down and we need to have this conversation, means it, then you sit down and you have the conversation. Here's the conversation, and here's what needs to be talked about, all right? Let's get away from all the BS. Here's the conversation that nobody wants to talk about. The reality is, if you know any cop, and you've talked to them and you discussed them about their job, and if you haven't, do this. But I've talked to a lot of cops, and what they say is that when you go into these neighborhoods, not just black neighborhoods, it's white neighborhoods, trashy white neighborhoods, okay? What they would consider, what they call white trash. Now, they go into the low-income neighborhoods, whether it's white or black, and they're on edge. They're on edge. If you ever done a ride-along and you end up in a bad white neighborhood or a bad black neighborhood, okay, and you see that, and you pull into a neighborhood and you got 20, 30 people standing outside of some kind of party or whatever it is, and they got the cops called on them, and they're yelling, "Fuck the police! Fuck these motherfuckers! Hey, blah, blah, we're not doing shit. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of our neighborhood." And all this, listen, that puts the cops on edge. When you encounter people that are constantly resisting arrest, that are constantly putting your life in danger because they're taking off in the car and all that, listen, human beings are meant to survive, all right? Put people back in the Stone Age where you got, let's say, dinosaurs, okay? Whatever it is. I don't know my timeline. I'm not that smart. But let's put them back into where the dinosaurs were. First time a human being saw a dinosaur. Walks up, sees this T-Rex. It's like, man, that thing is cool, right? What the heck is that thing? That thing looks pretty sweet. I want to go check it out. And he's got his buddies. One friend walks up, the friend that's in front, chomp. And they eat him. And they go, oh! And they happen to get away. Guess what? They're telling everybody, or they're telling them, so let's say they end up alone. Their survival skills in their head says, when I see that T-Rex, I need to avoid that, okay? I need to survive. I need to figure out something. Those are survival skills that come in. That's called profiling. You could call it racism. You could call it T-Rexism. Whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, it's what human beings do to survive. Now, if you have a weak human being and a weak cop, okay, people that shouldn't be cops at all, and they go into the neighborhood, into bad neighborhoods, and they're on edge, their survival instincts tell them this is what it is, okay? It has nothing to do with racism. It has to do with the next time they pull somebody over or they have somebody resisting arrest, they don't know how to handle it because they're bad cops. They shouldn't be cops, okay? That's the point. These people are hiring people that look good on paper, but they're nerdy-ass little motherfuckers that don't know what to do. I went to police academy. Thank God I didn't become a cop. I mean, great for the cops. You know, I mean, I thank the cops, but it's not me. It's not what I should have been doing. It seemed like a good idea, but I graduated police academy, okay, and it didn't work out. Thank God, because I wouldn't want to be dealing with any of this bullshit. Because innocent cops, good cops, are getting hurt now because of this dumbass cop. And that's the same thing as if you generalize a skin color or if you generalize a race, whatever it is. If you're generalizing, you're no better. You're doing the same thing. If you're attacking innocent cops that have good families and killing them because of what this one dumbass did, you're just as bad. You're no better. You're just as bad. So, to go back to the conversation, so now you got these cops that nowadays, you know, they're hiring people that are squeaky clean. Never smoked weed? Never done any cocaine? No, you don't want that cop. I mean, I've never done cocaine, but besides the fact that if you do drugs or whatever, I'm not saying that if you do drugs that makes you a good cop. What I'm saying is that these people with a squeaky clean past that are getting hired on because they look good on paper are the ones that are going out there and killing innocent people because they get flustered. You know, they're getting sent into bad neighborhoods, and then somebody reaches for their wallet and they're shooting. They're not shooting because they're racist. They're shooting because they're so on edge because of being in these neighborhoods and they can't handle it, okay? They can't deal with it. So now they pull their gun out and they shoot. And, oh, shit. I just killed somebody. Not that I just killed a black person. I just killed somebody, a human being. And that's where we're messing up, man. If you look at the statistics, I looked them up yesterday. If you want to, look them up. More white people by number, unarmed white people by number, are killed per year. than black people. Percentage wise, it's off, right? Hispanic, white. Percentage wise, because there's more white people in this country, it's tilted where there's more black people that are being killed by unarmed black people that are killed by cops, or black people that are being killed by cops in general. But if you look at the actual numbers, it's not like there's not unarmed white people that are getting killed. There are. There are unarmed white people that resist arrest, that put cops on edge just the same. Okay? Probably number-wise, more white people. Percentage-wise, more black people. But the fact is that this is happening, but obviously they don't cover it. Doesn't fit the news's premise. And that's where the problem is. That's where the problem is, that everybody watches the news and they're like, this is still, racism is alive. Is it? Walk outside. Walk outside. Is racism still alive? I mean, I walk around. Listen, murder's still around. Stealing's still around. Adultery, people that are cheating, all that are still, bad people are still around. Yes. But is it prevalent? No. Walk outside. Walk outside in Alabama. Walk outside in walk outside in where you would think that it would be racist, Mississippi, whatever it is. Wherever you think that it would be racist, walk outside. Are you not allowed to walk through a white neighborhood? Is that what's happening? You can't walk in through a white neighborhood and say, without somebody going, "Hey, N-word! Hey, you effing N-word? Get out of here!" No, it doesn't happen. What's happening with this police brutality, or the police killings with unarmed people, is not racism. It's people that are on edge and don't know how to handle it because they're going into bad neighborhoods and they're coming across somebody else. The person that ends up being innocent, like this guy, is because of all the other people they came across, and they don't know how to handle it, or they're just a bad guy in general. But the fact that it's a white cop and a black victim is what fits the premise of the news. So when we see it, it's blasted all over. That's all we could talk about. We were just talking about the coronavirus. We were just talking about the coronavirus yesterday, and now today, there's nothing else being talked about besides George Floyd, which is great. Because that guy deserves news. Deserves to be on the news, deserves to be recognized. But what doesn't need to happen is you go burn down buildings, you go rioting. You have all these, you act like a fucking idiot, white and black people, Antifa's dumbasses out there, going out there and saying, "I'm going to go do this." No, you're a terrorist group, buddy. Okay? You guys are nothing better than a terrorist group. So to go back to what the solution is, the real talk is, we need to figure out how to hire better cops. They need to be put in to high intense situations through training. Okay? I don't know how everybody's police academy goes, but the police academy I went to was not high intensity. I mean, you did firearms, you did all the stuff, but you did not have high intensity where you need to see what your reaction is in a real life situation. Okay? And you need to take these people that fit that are able to go there and deal with these high intensity situations without overreacting. If I'm a cop and you push me, I could now raise it up to physical. I'm going to get physical with you, and I'm going to get more physical with you than you got with me. I'm going to put you in cuffs. I'm going to restrain you. I might tase you. If you're not listening to what a cop's saying, they're able to use force, the right amount of force. Okay? What's misunderstood out there is that if a cop tells you to get out of the vehicle, that you don't have to, if they don't have probable cause. Wrong. A cop tells you to get out, you have to get out. A cop says, "Hey, step out of the vehicle," you have to get out of the vehicle. And if you don't, that's resisting a police officer, and they have every right to get you out of that vehicle because of for their safety. They have every right to get you out of that vehicle. White, black, Chinese, whoever you are, they have every right to get you out of that vehicle. Okay? Every right. Now, What's the other truth? The other truth is resisting arrest. Yeah, everybody says it, but nobody wants to hear it. Everybody says, that's something that if you talk about, then let's say whoever's out there with a big mouthpiece that's black or white or whoever's talking about this, and they say, oh, you want to bring up resisting arrest. Yes, resisting arrest is what causes a lot of these things. What that guy, Georgefloyd, was doing, he was technically resisting arrest. He wouldn't get in the vehicle. Okay, he's claustrophobic. He doesn't want to get in. A lot of people are claustrophobic. But you do have to get in the vehicle. Was he drunk? Was he on drugs? He was doing something, right? That's not an excuse. This cop was going to, if he didn't do that to him, he was going to do that to somebody else that was resisting arrest and overreact. He was going to overreact to the situation. Now, what they say is he's got a lot of complaints. The guy that committed this murder has a lot of complaints, and so does a couple other cops that were on that thing. Why isn't that being taken care of? That should be taken care of also. The police department should say, okay, we got this guy that's getting a lot of complaints about the same thing in the same neighborhoods. We need to move him. He hasn't done something enough to get fired, but we need to move him. We need to move him to a different section, put him over into an area that he's not going to overreact. He's obviously got some kind of issue, whether it is racism, whether it is whatever it is with this particular area. He needs to go and he needs to get put into Beverly Hills. He needs to be put into, the area that's low crime, not too much going on, because this guy's a cowboy. Until everybody can be honest about, listen, these bad neighborhoods, like I said, white, black, Hispanic, you go into a bad Hispanic neighborhood, same thing. Anywhere that there's high crime, there's going to be police officers on edge. And maybe we need to speak to those communities and say, listen, and have a change of how they look at police officers. And I think that they're doing a great job. They're out there, they're saying, hey, we're standing with you. We're going to walk with you. Yeah, that's good. That's perfect. That's the best protest you could do. You protest with peace. So you're out there and the cops are joining in, and you have a lot of cops and they're going, oh man, it's so surprising that these cops are admitting that this is wrong. How could you not? These are not, I'm glad that they're showing their voice, but all cops are not bad. And somehow when we need them, they're the best thing ever. But there needs to be a recognition of that this is not race. What should be out there is like the Hodge twins. You got the Hodge twins that are on Facebook, but how many people watch them? Unless you're on the right side, you're not seeing this stuff. Unless you're watching Fox News, you're not seeing this stuff. If you're seeing CNN, if you're seeing NBC, if you're seeing anything else, you're not seeing that there are black people standing up and saying, hey, this is not race, man. Let's stop bringing it back to the 60s. This is not race. This is about a bad cop that did a bad thing. Let's stop generalizing. Let's stop doing the ignorant thing that ignorant people do, which is generalize, and now we're conflating it with cops and white people. If you say, hey, cops have a power trip, cops do bad things, we need to figure out how to solve this cop issue. Yeah, I'm with you. I'll march with you. I'll do whatever you want with you. But when you conflate it and you make it a white people thing and a cop thing, now white people are unsafe to walk down the streets. White people can't go into the black neighborhoods. Now we're reversing this whole thing. Black people, any black person can walk through any white neighborhood and you're fine. Unless there's some neighborhoods I don't know about. I don't know every neighborhood, but as far as I know, everywhere I've been, I've never seen a white neighborhood, whether they look out the window and go, who's that? Depending on how you're dressed, right? I had a white guy go by my house. He's riding a bike, probably 30-something years old. He's on a bike, right? Not like a mountain bike, not a bike that you go riding or a speed bike. I'm talking about a little BMX where his legs are coming up almost higher than his head, right? And he's got the the handlebars tilted like this. This is a white guy, long hair, long beard, looks like shit, wearing a wife beater, and he's looking around. And he's looking around the neighborhood, right? What are you doing? I'm looking at you and I'm going, what are you doing? You know you're not up to any good. You're over here trying to find something that you can maybe steal. And if you're not, I'm still looking at you like that. Because you look like that person. Because my human instincts has seen a person like that and knows what happens with people like that. Right? And that's what you're doing. You could call it profiling. You can't call me racist because he's my same race. But you can call it profiling and you could say, hey, this guy is a good guy. All right? You were wrong. Okay, I was wrong. As long as I don't overreact to the situation, I'm still being safe. I'm still thinking about, let me watch out for this guy because he fits the description. Okay? And maybe if there's a black guy walking through the neighborhood that fits a description of what somebody would be like, you know, in a bad neighborhood or something I've seen before personally, you know, I walked up, I got a million stories, all right? Where I grew up, in my younger years, I was around, I went to a school where I remember sitting in a classroom and I counted 2 white people and I was one of them. Okay? And I'm talking about Hispanic, black, was the majority. Guess what? I got fucked with. They treated me, hey, white boy, what's up this, what's up that? Now, it's because I wasn't somebody that bent over backwards and took shit. You know, they started respecting me because I would get into fights, and I didn't give a fuck. But there was other white kids that were scared. Now, you literally have people saying it's not possible for black people to be racist. What? All right, so any normal person is going to go, what? All right, how does that work? Well, the way they say it works is that you can't be racist unless you have power. Now, what they're speaking about is power in the richer people, power in the presidency, power in the government, right? But who has the power when you're in school and it's 1 white kid and 5 black kids? Who has the power then? When you're in a locker room and they come walking up on you and they're like, what's up, white boy? What the fuck are you doing? Let me get that jersey. And they come up and they grab your shirt, start pulling your shit off. And you're scared. You're scared shitless. Then one kid hauls off and punches you. And then you're sitting there curled up. No, stop. And they're like, what the fuck are you going to do? What the fuck are you going to do? Slapping, spitting on them. Now, you think this is a fake? You think this is a fake scenario? This is a real life scenario I walked in on when I was in 6th grade. Maybe 7th. I was in 7th grade. So 7th grade, because I walk into the locker room. I walk in, and this is exactly what's happening. What I just described to you was exactly what was happening. You had 4 or 5 black kids. 4 or 5, right? Yeah, outnumbered little white kid. And not like a big white kid that could take care of himself, like a little white kid that was sitting there, and he's on the ground crying, and they're spitting on him, slapping him, saying, give me your fucking jersey. Give me your jersey, white boy. You shouldn't be wearing that shit anyways. Give me that jersey. I think it was a Penny Hardaway jersey. Orlando Magic. And they're ripping at his shirt, and they're pulling it up, and I walk in and I said, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And they looked at me, and I mean, I could feel scared, but for some reason, I guess my face was showing that I wasn't scared, but I was scared as shit. I'm like, oh God, here it is. I just took the attention off of this kid, and now I'm going to be the kid curled up, getting smacked around. I'm just kidding. I would never be that kid. You have to fucking kill me. So I said, hey, what the fuck you doing, man? And they said, This little white motherfucker stole my jersey. Now, I just heard, as I'm walking through in the locker room, they're saying, give me that jersey. Now he's saying, this little white motherfucker stole my jersey. And they knew me by name. They said, Tristan, this little white motherfucker stole my jersey. I said, no, he didn't. And they're like, how do you know? I said, because look at him, man. Do you think this kid stole your jersey? Are you kidding me? I said, he didn't steal anything. He's like, how do you? I said, because I saw he didn't steal that. I saw him before he came here. I saw that he had that jersey on. And they're like, all right. Hey, you're lucky when they smack him in the head. Now, this kid is scared out of his mind. Now, what does that little kid do when he grows up and becomes a cop? After a few incidences like that, and then he goes into the bad neighborhoods, and now next thing you know, he's got a person resisting arrest. He's scared. He's scared out of his mind, and then there's some quick actions that happen, and his response is, "Oh shit! Oh shit! I shot that person." Now he's on the news. Racism. Not excusing this. What I'm saying is it needs the word racist needs to stop until there's a person that's obviously racist. If this guy that had his knee on the back of George Floyd's neck was saying, "Die, you effing N-word," now you're racist. Does it have to be that extreme? Kind of. All right? When you're smacking a white kid and you're saying, "Hey, little white mother effer, blah, 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 this and that," are you racist? Yeah, that's a racist. That's a hate crime. And here's what happens. When you have all these things that keep coming up and keep pointing to racism, you just perpetuate the problem. Because what are you doing? You're talking about this in front of your kids. If you're an adult, if you're a black adult, an African-American adult, family, you got people around, you're hanging out, you're going to be talking about these topics. How do I know? Because I talk about these topics. The kids are going to hear. And what's the kid going to think? He's going to think, oh, man, fuck these white people. Not fuck the cops. He's going to say fuck the cops too. But fuck these white people. Now they're young, they're impressionable, so they go to the school. And what are they doing at the school? Fuck these white people. This cycle keeps going. So then they outnumber some white kid, or not outnumber him one-on-one, but while they're doing it, they're saying, fuck this white motherfucker, beat that white mother, fuck that cracker up, fucking kill that cracker. Words I've heard, okay? I'm not making this up. These are words I've heard, and these are words a lot of you have heard. A lot of people have heard these words. If you've gone to school in the past 20, 30 years, you've probably heard these words. Spoken by African American people, spoken by Hispanics. All right? Half my family is brown. I can pull up pictures for you if you don't believe me. Half my family's brown. I don't walk around like that. But guess what? The same thing happens. Fuck those white people. This is how you keep perpetuating the cycle. This is how it keeps going in circles. And this is why we keep asking the same thing. This is why Trigger Mike is out there going, hey, how do we need to sit down and talk. We need to have a conversation. We need to figure this out. This is the conversation. You need to stop talking to your kids about racism. You know how you stop it? You stop talking about it. You stop talking about racism. You stop talking at the parties. You stop talking at home. You stop talking about racism in general, how whitey's the bad guy. Because they're going to school and they're creating what would be considered racist people. If your kids are going to school and they're fucking white kids up, or they're saying as white kids walk by, "What's up, little white motherfucker?" and the white kid puts his head down and he walks on. This is the same shit that happened in the past to black people. This is what white people would do to black people. Is it right? Fuck no, it's not right. It's not right to have slaves. It's not right to treat anybody less than a human being. But it's being done now more on the other side. And if you don't think that's true, go to school. Go back to school. If you're like 70 years old and you haven't seen this, and the last time you were in school, it was white people saying this shit, go to school now. When it was white people saying that shit, it needed to stop. When Martin Luther King was marching, when all this civil rights were happening, that needed to happen. I'd be the first one on that bus for the Freedom Ride and saying, hey, this needs to happen. But guess what? Now these people that are doing it, that are marching in riots, they're wrong. The topic is wrong. The topic is only racism. White people hate black people. How generalized is that? How many people are out? How many good white people are out there that don't think about that at all? When I see this, oh, we don't want you to be colorblind, because the thing was that I don't see color. I don't see color. Well, you're a fucking idiot if you say I don't see color. Okay, you can see color. You can see the skin tone of a black person, the skin tone of a white person, skin tone of everybody. Because now it's turned into, people of color. That's what I was going to say. That's what I was talking about. Okay, I can see skin color, but what's said is, that's something that's been said. When you look at me, you don't see a man, you see a black man. When you look at her, you don't see a woman, you see a black woman. Wrong. Not nowadays, not me, and not a lot of people, not the majority, okay? Not the majority. The majority sees a black a man. And when I see a black man walking across the street, I see a man. Now, if you're dressed with your pants down, hanging off your ass, like I even did when I was a kid, when you're dressed like that, I see a punk, no matter what color you are. If you have your pants hanging around your ass and you're dressed like a fucking idiot, I see a punk. And so does everybody else that is not in that category. If you're a white person doing that, if you're in that age group where you think it's cool to still do that, you might not look at that person and think much. But if you're a grown-ass person that has a house, has a car, owns stuff, you see that and you go, look at that punk motherfucker. That could fit all kinds of things. You got your head sideways. You got all this. You got all these things that line up with being basically a kid that doesn't own anything, that's willing to take your shit, possibly. That in your mind you go, you gotta watch out for that person. Might take my shit because I own stuff now. They don't own stuff, and they don't know how that feels to have something taken from them. Not that they're horrible people. It's not whoever this kid is. I had a kid break into my car. Caught him on video, right? I said to the cop, I don't want him to go to jail. I don't want him to go to jail. I want him to get scared. I want him to understand that you're taking somebody's stuff that paid for their stuff, and you don't know how that feels because you haven't paid for anything yet. You will. You're going to grow up, and you're probably going to change. I don't think you're going to still be this person. You're trying to make you don't have any money. You want some money, and you're getting it in the bad way. But you need to get scared. You need to straighten up. Doesn't mean that they're a bad person, right? But if I see that person walking through my neighborhood at night, I'm going to go, what are they doing? They're looking to go get, some open doors. They're looking to go and check doors. But this is stuff that is true. The truth that we can talk about is that things need to stop with people resisting arrest, black people thinking that it's a cop and white thing, and the media needs to stop putting these things together and making this happen. Because like I said, it starts with the kids. You're talking about it in front of the kids the same way that if you were a slave, you talked about it with your kids. They're scared of the white man. They see a white man, they're like, fuck. They put their head down. They start walking. Don't look at the white man in the eye. Don't you look at that white man in the eye, okay? What kind of fucked up shit is that? But they're saying, don't look at the white man in the eye. You tell your kids not to do that. And they obey you. And you know why they obey you? Because they saw something happen. Maybe they saw somebody get beat up. But they obey you. Now, move on to free slaves. But still, it's pretty bad. All right? The white people are horrible to black people. right after slavery, you were free, but you weren't really free. You were still did they give you a bunch of money? I don't know. I don't really know that much, but I don't think so. I'm thinking that you were free, but where are you going to go? So you end up staying on the farm, and you're still kind of in the same situation. Then you work your way out. Then things happen. Then the government helps. Then we work. Everybody starts working together. Now it's civil rights era, and it's still bad. You still have the South is still bad. You still have racism. You still have all that stuff. But racism is outside. Racism is vocal. There's racism. People are screaming, "Don't let these N-words in the school. I don't want this. I don't want those black people with my white kids in the school. I want segregation. I want to fight for this." They're outwardly fighting for this. There's racism. You know what you're fighting against. You know what the problem is. Right now, we don't know what the problem is because the racism is it's not non-existent, but it's so small. It's on such a small scale that one, you're not going to read people's minds and know what they're thinking. But so what happens if you can't read somebody's mind and you just think it's racist? But nobody's saying it's racist. Nobody's saying, like when those kids were standing over that kid knew, I'm a white piece of shit. I'm a little white motherfucker. I'm a soft white ass. I'm a cracker. Because he's being told that's what you are, all right? You're getting told, you are this. You white motherfucker. It's vocalized. What do you do when it's not vocalized? You just assume it? You just assume that the Oscars are so white because they didn't vote for you, Will Smith? That movie wasn't that good? That movie was not that good? And that's what happens when you go out and say, if you didn't do that, people would go, that was a pretty good movie. Then you do that and you go, that movie's not even that good. You're a fucking idiot. Nobody said that. Now, if there's some racism stuff I don't know about in Hollywood, whatever. But the fact is that nobody's vocalizing it. Nobody's saying, hey, we're doing this because you're black. Okay? Now, that's an issue. If you don't know what you're fighting against and you just think you're fighting against something, you're going to piss a lot of people off. You're screaming to the rooftop. Every white person is being told they're racist. If you don't think that, then you don't understand what's going on. If you don't think that if by what's being said on the news that you're screaming at white people that they're racist, then you don't know what you're talking about. And all you're doing is creating enemies instead of friends. What you should be screaming, everybody should be screaming at the top of their lungs, is this was wrong. This was murder. This is injustice. Those are facts. That's what happened. These are the facts that we could say. This is what's been screamed to the rooftop. It wasn't racism. It was a bad guy killing an innocent person that had a badge that should have never fucking had a badge. There should have been signs that this guy is fucked up. This wasn't the first time he had his knee pressed into the back of somebody's neck. This is the first time somebody died from it. You know why it's not the first time? Because you wouldn't have these other cops sitting there and acting like it was normal. This was something that this guy has done before, and probably other cops in that community had done before. Press their knee right into the back of their neck against concrete. Unless you murdered somebody, and I don't even know if that's a reason. That's not how you treat a person. You know why it's not a reason? Because unless you saw that person kill somebody, if you saw that person rape a little girl, you walked up and he's raping a little girl, now that cop should be able to do whatever he wants. All the cops should be able to take turns raping that motherfucker, beating the shit out of them, taking a log and shoving it up that guy's ass. Okay? Now, if you have something like that, that's what you need. Then you use the force. But otherwise, everybody's innocent until proven guilty. So you need to walk up and act correctly. If they're resisting, you need to handle that correctly. If they have a weapon that's threatening your life, now you have right to use deadly force. But until then, you're dealing with an innocent person. You're dealing with somebody hearsay. You're dealing with a phone call saying that somebody this happened, that happened. But you're dealing with You're dealing with somebody innocent. But the fact is that we should be saying that this is murder, this is wrong, and this needs to stop and never happen again. But it needs to be handled on a case by case situation. If you're dealing with somebody that you know, all right, this person's having a lot of bad interactions with this community, we need to move this guy. We need to get him out of there. We need to talk to him. We need to see what's going on. You talk to him and you say, hey, what's going on with this? You're getting a lot of complaints in this neighborhood. What's up? What's going on? Oh man, these people and this and that and blah blah blah. And you as the boss, as administration, should take your judgment and go, all right, what I see is somebody that's super racist or has a big problem with this community and already has a lot of prejudgment going on with these particular people living around here. We need to get rid of them. We need to knock them down to a different desk job or something. We need to put him under investigation, put a microscope up his ass. Whatever it is, it needs to be handled quickly and efficiently. But what we don't need to do is start screaming racism and saying how fucked up this is, what white people are doing and what white cops are doing. Because now those kids are going to go to school, they're going to meet my kids, and they're going to say, shit, your people are killing my people. They have racism. Now they have racism built into them. Now they have a problem with white people that they wouldn't have. If you take a little tiny baby African-American kid and you raise them up and never say one thing about how white people are bad, and just let him make his own decisions. Let him experience the experiences. And you never say a thing about white people being bad or white people killing black people or white cops this or white cops that. See what happens. See if that kid ends up having a problem with white people. See what kind of interactions he has out there. But instead, the premise is, have you taught your kid? Have you taught your black son what he needs to do when he gets pulled over? He needs, oh yeah. Oh, I talk to him all the time. He needs to make sure he's doing this. He's making sure he's doing that. Listen, my dad had the same talk with me. Hey, when you get pulled over, this is how you need to act so you don't get shot accidentally by some punk-ass cop that is scared out of his fucking mind because he's a rookie. He's just getting out there and you're a punk kid and somebody's walking up to you and they're scared that you're going to, overreact or do something bad. So this is what you need to do. Put your hand, my dad told me this. This is what you need to do. Hands on your steering wheel, window down. Get that window down right away. If you're in a cab like a truck, whatever windows you have down, get them down. Let the cop be able to see everything in there. If you have friends in the car, get the windows down. If you got tinted windows, get the windows down. Get your hand on the wheel. Prep it where you have your driver's license, whatever it is, everything exposed, and have it right there to give to the officer. Hey, license and registration. Yes, sir, right here. I'm gonna reach for my wallet right here, and I'm gonna get my license and registration. Is that okay? Yes, sir. Go ahead. They're at ease. They're put at ease, right? My dad taught me that. Me. This complexion, this color beard, me, he taught to act like that. This is not just a white and this is not just a black thing. It's not just a black thing for the person to go, hey, did you teach your kids how to act with police officers? Everybody needs to be taught how to act with police officers. Everybody. These people are on high alert. These people are getting shot at. These people are getting calls about domestic, but these people are getting the shittiest shit, seeing the worst of our communities. They're seeing the worst of it. Any bad stuff, any kind of child molesters, any kind of domestic violence, any kind of murder, any kind of stabbing, any kind of anything. That's what these people are living every day. That's what they're seeing. They're on edge. When they pull you over, they're on edge. It's almost impossible to create these human beings, unless you have robots, that are not on edge. And even if you had robots, it'd be worse. They would profile the shit out of you. They would go, saw this person last night selling drugs, looks similar. Profile the shit out of you, okay? It would be impossible to get a human being that doesn't have that built into that high alert, that readiness, that survival technique, because they're seeing the worst of the worst. So everybody needs to be taught. Everybody needs to be taught how to act with the cop. If you're white, no matter what color you are, you should act accordingly. Unless you're a criminal, then you should act right when a cop pulls you over. I got pulled over. I literally got pulled over yesterday. Okay? Got pulled over for sliding through a stop sign. Pulls me over. Same thing. If I would have sat there and screamed at the cop, guess what? And been like, I didn't do anything. And then he goes, hey, stop doing this. Get back in your vehicle. And I'm like, fuck you. I don't have to do anything you say. And I resist. Guess what? It's going to escalate. It's going to escalate. Now he's going to be forcing me to put me into my vehicle, or forcing me to leave the scene, or forcing me to do whatever, because they have the right to. They have the power to do that. And I'm going to keep resisting, right? They keep pushing me in. And I'm like, and then I elbow him. And now all of a sudden I'm getting my face slammed. Then I escalate and I keep going. Guess what? I'm going to get tased. And if I come at that cop, I'm going to get shot. It has nothing to do with skin color when you resist arrest. Some of these cases are bad cases. But if you resist arrest, bad things happen. So the point of this whole conversation is, let's stop talking about racism. Let's stop talking about how it's the white person's fault. Let's stop telling our kids, now this kid that's getting bullied at school from black kids are growing up. Now he might have a little bit of racism, I guess, if you want to call it. Maybe he has a little bit of racism in him now because of what happened to him as a kid. Now he's telling his kids to watch out at school. Hey, if this happens, do this. If that happens, do that. Don't. Now he's telling his son, because he was the kid getting kicked in the locker room, and he's forever embarrassed about that. Now he's telling his son, hey, if some black kids do this to you, don't take no shit. Now you got this white kid going to school, and now he's a problem. Now he has an issue with if he sees a black kid, because now that parent is telling him something that he shouldn't be telling him. But we need to be, I'm going to end this, but we need to end this. We need to end this bullshit. We need to end this talk. The media. We need to stop the media. We need to really stand up. You know what we need to be protesting? The media. The media that just wants clicks. They want views. And they're putting whatever the fuck they want out there. And this should be against the law. The media should be held up to a standard. It's not freedom of speech. This is freedom of speech. This is freedom of speech. But if you're a sanctioned TV news station, you should have you shouldn't be able to just say whatever. I could sit here and I could say whatever. I could say the sky is green, the grass is blue, and it doesn't matter. Okay? Either you choose to believe me or you don't, but that's different. When you're on a news station and people think that what you're saying are facts, you should not be able to put fake stories out. And then they put fake stories, and when they get caught about the fake story, what do? They come out and say, oh, sorry. Hey, listen, this was a false story. Sorry, but they're still on air. Nothing happens. Did they get fined? I don't know. But nothing changes. Whether it's CNN, whether it's Fox News, whether it's MSNBC, NBC, any of these stations, they should be held at a different standard than just freedom of speech. It's not freedom of speech. It's if you're putting facts out there that are causing riots, that are causing things like when Trayvon Martin got shot, and they put a picture of Trayvon Martin when he was 8. When they put a picture of Trayvon Martin when he was 8, that should be illegal. Because now you're inciting riots. You're inciting violence. You're having people go out there and defend this 8-year-old that they're like, what? This little kid got shot. I remember the day it happened, the day I saw it on the news for the first time. I was getting ready. I'm getting ready in the morning, get my stuff. I always have the news in the background. I'm in the bathroom. I hear, and I'm like, what? This kid's 8 years old. Come to find out he wasn't 8 years old. That should be illegal. Whether you think Zimmerman was innocent or not, doesn't matter. That should be illegal. That should be illegal to put that kind of stuff out there. To put everybody, if you're an adult and you've been watching the news, you've been following stuff, the news station, the media, they put out stuff just to get views. Okay? So what's the biggest premise that they could ever push is this racism. So that's what we should be standing up and fighting for, is to say, hey, this needs to stop being talked about. Not continue being talked about. Everybody's like, oh, we need to talk about this. We do need to talk about this. We need to talk about how it needs to be talked about. Okay? Racism, now at this point, is just us doing it to each other. Us causing this. Because everybody, look how easy it is to change. Look how easy it is to change, all right? Go back to just recently when my grandfather, who passed away, was in World War II, okay? What was that, the 40s? 42? Not that long ago. Not that long ago in generations, right? Look how much it changed from there. I don't look at Japanese people and go, oh man, look at that Jap. Oh, that fucking Jap. I would never buy a Japanese product ever because Japanese this and that. Guess what? A lot of people that were in World War II did say that. And just look, my grandfather, my mom, me. Just like that, it's already been completely changed. I don't view Japanese people with any kind of hatred. I don't feel anything. If I look at a Japanese person, I don't think anything except, well, I want some sushi. Just kidding. Just that quickly, right? That's how quick it is with racism or anything else. Just in my generation, I was able to say faggot. Not a derogatory term. I never was like, look at that fucking faggot. No, I never said that, but I was like, what's up, faggot? Ah, you fucking fag. Right? I said that kind of stuff. People, I still say that stuff. I still say it. I don't give a shit. What is it? They're going to call me a homophobe. Guess what? I'm not. If you want to call me a homophobe, fine. But if I'm talking to my buddy, I'm like, what's up, fag? I'm allowed to say that. It's words. I can say it. But that's just my generation. My kids will not say that. My kids are against that. They actually, if they hear me say it, they're like, Dad, I don't like hearing that. It changes that quick. And it changes outside, okay? I've said that since they were little kids, but they're like, hey, this is, that's not cool. That hurts people's feelings. That hurts gay people's feelings. The point is, the media needs to stop this. The people that don't want white people talking about it, that don't want black people that don't agree with their premise talking about it, that needs to stop. All that shit needs to stop. The discussion needs to be, how can we fix our cops? How can we change that? And how do we stop putting white people with cops? If you're not a cop, you're not involved in this, okay? That we're not having hate crimes happening everywhere. That's not happening. And that's what it seems like is happening, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is we got some bad cops, and we need to all join up, cops included, which they are, join up and figure this out. How do we fix bad cops? We have this racism thing figured out, man. If you walk the streets, you can tell we got this racism thing figured out. Besides people attaching things in our brains and saying, is that a racist thought? Is that a racist thought? Is that a racist thought? Other than that, we can't call it racist. We cannot call it racist. We can't keep assuming because you're white, you're racist. That's not how we solve this. We sit down and have a conversation by saying, this racism thing is fake news. It's not out there, okay? You don't walk the streets and see people just hanging black people and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. You don't see that. But we are seeing bad cops. We are seeing bad cops do bad things. And that's where we need to be. We don't need to keep looking in the past and saying, hey, this has been happening for years, and now you're just paying attention. If that's the case, we're paying attention. People are paying attention. This is now, everybody's got video. Now that we have technology, video, most if they don't, they need to have this. Video, audio on their person. Okay? And now we see this bad thing happen. That's where we need to solve it. Okay, that's my topic for the day. Thanks for listening. Like I said, I think that the solution is that we need to talk about how to solve bad cops and figure that out and stop conflating white people with cops, because all that's doing is causing a lot more problems and just continuing the problem. All right? Listen, thanks for listening. If you can, do me a big favor. Hit subscribe. Like the video. And check out my next one. Thank you.